Hey everyone, how's it going? Aaron Rift here from NoDQ.com. I am being joined by the panel from NoDQ.com. Good old JM, Jeff Meacham, as well as NoDQ's author of Pain, Mr. David Payne, and the PA sensation, Greg Cherry. This is the four-person panel, the oh-so-popular four-person panel. But this is NXT. This is WrestleMania weekend, damn it. We have to go all out for this and give the most in-depth analysis of these shows. We're kicking things off with NXT Takeover Orlando, which is Saturday night, April 1st, 2017. Should be a fun show as usual. Jeff, what are your thoughts overall on this card? We have 4 matches officially announced, possibly a 5th match being added. Your thoughts?
We're not going to preview the Hall of Fame?
We could talk about the Hall of Fame. Let's talk about NXT first.
I'm just kidding.
You're kidding.
I'm kidding because the Hall of Fame is going to be on Friday, so I think we do that first. NXT has been a great lead-in for Mania since 2014 with NXT Arrival, so I think that we're going to see more of the same. You've got a great, even though it's a short card as far as the lineup's concerned, they're going to add more stuff to it. It's going to be a good lineup overall. They're going to go completely balls out in Orlando just to lead into WrestleMania, and I think that anytime the WWE's in Florida, Greg can attest to this. They go crazy.
They're doing this in the big arena, right? The main arena.
No, they're doing this in the stadium. No.
Not a stadium, but the basketball arena, like a 20,000 seat, 15,000 seat arena, right?
The Amway, where they had the Hall of Fame the last time they were in Orlando.
Right. So this is going to be in the big arena. This is the WrestleMania crowd. Should be a really hot crowd for this event.
Yeah, I was just saying, Greg's been to shows in Florida when WWE was there before, so he knows exactly what I'm talking about when the crowds are hot there in Florida.
Yeah, I was just asking because for San Antonio, they did it in the small arena.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't the small arena. I mean, it's where it's like, okay, there's a stadium where like football teams play, and then there's like an arena where like basketball and hockey teams play, where the Orlando Magic play. That's where it's going to be. It's still going to be a 15,000 seat arena, right, Greg?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, where the Hall of Fame was, and unfortunately, when I went, NXT wasn't a huge deal, sadly, but they had the Hall of Fame in the American Airlines Center while I was in Miami.
Right.
So it was a fantastic night there too. But NXT is going to be hot, much like it was last year for NXT Dallas. So I'm expecting another fantastic WrestleMania weekend.
Absolutely. So we have 4 matches officially confirmed. Let's talk about these matches. The first one is the debut of Tommy End. His NXT name is Aleister Black. He will be facing Andrade, Cien, Almas. Greg, what are your thoughts on this match?
You know, it's funny. I was actually watching some Tommy End PWG highlights before we came on here.
Yes.
And Tommy End, Aleister Black, he just looks like a guy who can kick your ass. Like, you see him at Dark Alley, it's like you turn the other way and hope there's no dead end there. Aleister Black against Almas. Almas is a good talent. I mean, he's utilized fairly decently since he's arrived. He hasn't got the following that some of the other NXT debutees, I guess I should call it, have gotten. But his heel turn has served him well. He works great matches. I'm not saying anything against him, but Aleister Black in his debut, he's going to take this one.
Definitely. What do you think, Jeff?
I got major flack. I think it was for Brooklyn when Bobby was going to face Almas, because I ragged on Almas's push as far as his development in NXT, and I cannot be more. I'm fully admit that I was completely wrong about him. He has developed so well as a character. He's not going to be the guy in NXT. That's not going to happen. You've got Bobby Roode. You've got guys like Tommy End now. Aleister Black is going to debut this weekend, but it's one of those things where Almas is going to be the guy who tests the new guy, if you will. He's going to be one of those guys, kind of like the jobbers of old, where they'd be like a Barry Horowitz would test a guy coming into the WWF back in the day. Thank you, Dave. Back in the day, they would test the waters with him. I think Tommy End has proven himself. Greg mentioned PWG. He has been one of the PWG's biggest stars out here in recent years, and I think that Regal has his finger on the pulse of PWG always, and that's why Tommy End's being brought in between his work there and his work back east, obviously. Aleister Black is going to be a huge name for NXT, and I think that he's going to pick up the victory here, no question about that. David, what do you think?
Yeah, I like Tommy End here, Aleister Black. It's kind of funny because Seth Rollins was Tyler Black, and yet they don't keep that name, and now you kind of rehash it, and now you got Aleister Black. Just another reason so WWE can own their rights and can't bring their own name. But PWG, I mean, those guys have produced a lot of talent. I am aware of Tommy End. I've seen him on YouTube, and it's just a matter of time before WWE probably acquires them too, don't you think?
I have it on good authority that PWG is not looking to sell.
Well, good. I'm glad they're staying true to their fan base. But yeah, I'm liking the debut victory here for Tommy and Aleister Black. And but I like your analogy, the jobber to the stars. So, yep.
Well, some very good points there, and I definitely agree. We're all going with Mr. Black to pick up his debut victory in NXT. That should be a fun match. Next up, we have the first of 3 championship matches. We have the NXT Tag Team titles on the line. The Authors of Pain, managed by the legend himself, against the Revival.
Precious Paul.
Yes, Precious Paul. Against the Revival and Do It Yourself, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. So I'll start with you, Jeff. Your thoughts on this triple threat match. Who do you see leaving Orlando with the tag team titles?
My gut instinct, you always tell me to go with my gut when I do these predictions with you, Aaron. My gut is to say the Authors of Pain. But when I step back and I look at the analysis and look at, what's going to progress the best leading into the next big show, which would be the SummerSlam weekend show, I would honestly put the titles back on the Revival.
There you go.
And because the Revival, there's a reason they claim to be the best tag team in NXT and the best tag team in the world today. It's a pretty valid argument. They are one of the best tag teams in wrestling today, period. Certainly in NXT. And I think that, if they were the three-time tag team champions going into Brooklyn, it would be a huge momentum boost for them and for the tag team division overall.
What do you think, Greg?
See, this match, I've been thinking about it. This one is the hardest one to call in my book of the NXT card. Because, you have the Authors of Pain, you have the Revival, you have DIY, all three to steal the Revivals. They're all 3 top guys for tag teams.
Yep.
And I've been thinking about this match because it's so hard to predict. I figure that if the Authors of Pain don't win, that DIY and the Revival team up on them to eliminate them first.
It is an elimination match, right?
It is an elimination match.
Yes.
Ooh, okay.
And that's my thing. If the Authors of Pain aren't gone first, they're winning. They're not going to be the second team eliminated. That's my prediction.
Right.
As far as
I like that
prediction, I think the Authors of Pain retain. I honestly do. I don't think Ellering gets involved at all. I just Authors of Pain do what they do. I think DIY takes out the Revival, and then it comes down to Authors of Pain and DIY, and Authors of Pain retain. What do you think, Dave?
Well, I think Authors of Pain, that's a good analysis. You got 2 teams in Do It Yourself and the Revival who are ready to be bumped up. And I know one of them is going to be bumped up relatively soon, and they probably won't do it with the straps. However, Authors of Pain got a victory fairly recently, so who knows?
Dislike, Jeff, your mic.
Sorry.
Screw 'em all.
People
sorry.
got to stop watching.
We just got 50 dislikes. Thanks a lot, Jeff.
Sorry about that. I had to itch my neck. Leave me alone.
You son
Talk
of a
about
biscuit.
burying me, man. You buried me like a jobber just now.
I know.
Thanks a lot.
Jeff's trying to sabotage your commentary here by messing with his mic.
You're Andrade Almas.
Damn it, Meacham.
But no, this is a tough one for me. But I will say this though: I think it may have a contender to be match of the night. I would personally like to see Authors of Pain get eliminated first and let the 2 best tag teams duke it out for like a really nice finish.
I like that idea, David. But like you guys said, my gut feeling is Author of Pains. Did I just say Author of Pains?
Yes,
You did.
Authors of Pain will retain the
Pluraled
titles.
me.
That's my prediction. But yeah,
All of a sudden, he's Pat Patterson.
I know, right? I'd love to see Dash and Dawson against Gargano and Ciampa at the end, but my feeling is Dash and Dawson will be the first ones out, and then it'll be DIY against Authors of Pain, and Pain will somehow retain the titles. I'm not expecting any of these teams to get called up right away, like right after WrestleMania. So whatever happens, I could see this storyline dragging out with them for a while.
Makes sense to me.
So we're all going
Yeah.
with Authors of Pain then?
I think I ended up picking the Revival just to throw away for a curveball.
Oh, okay. So you are
I
going
picked
with
the
the
other.
All right. Well, then I'll pick Do It Yourself just to be different. There we go.
All right.
Fancy.
We're living on the edge here, going with different
Mhm.
predictions. There you go. All right, so next up we have the NXT Women's Championship match. We have Asuka defending against Ember Moon. A lot of speculation about Asuka possibly heading to the main roster soon, perhaps being at WrestleMania. But the thing is, she's really carrying the women's division in NXT right now, and if she loses the title, I could see her going for a rematch. I don't sense that Asuka's going to be called up right away. I think if they call her up, it'll be later this summer after they establish some new women in NXT. My prediction is Ember Moon will win the title, though. I'll start with you, David. What are your thoughts on this match?
Well, I don't know. I'm going to pick Asuka to win. For me, it's a delicate situation because the women's division in NXT is very thin. Now, the SmackDown women's division could use some help, but I still see Asuka that if you build her enough that eventually next year she could rival with Charlotte, and that could be your money match for next year's WrestleMania. So if you book it right, I think Asuka could probably carry this until SummerSlam and then bring her over to either Raw or SmackDown. Right. But I'm going with her. I'm going with her to retain here.
Now, Greg, real quick before I get to you, my question is: aren't they doing this streak with Asuka right now as the longest reigning NXT champion?
They made reference to. I mean, she's already the longest reigning NXT Women's Champion,
right?
Possibly NXT champion as a whole, because she's held on to it since WrestleMania of last year. So I think they made a comparison on WWE.com about her streak against Goldberg's streak as far as undefeated goes. I'm not sure how close she is to that officially, but since we're talking about
David,
the match,
sorry.
I'm going to.
Sorry.
We're going to.
This is why I don't have headphones. This is why I think that Asuka's going to win, and I think she's going to beat Goldberg's streak. Honestly,
that's an
I'm thinking Asuka, Ember Moon are going to have a incredibly physical and intense match. I think Asuka is going to retain. Part of me thinks that she might follow in the realm of Paige as coming up as NXT Women's Champion, and Sasha Banks as well, being on the main roster and still being NXT Women's Champion. So I think Asuka retains.
You just said Paige and coming in the same sentence.
Oh, come on, David.
Don't get it together, Dave.
More dislikes.
Jeez.
I'm sorry.
Oh, man, this is bad. All right,
I lost my professionalism.
All right, Jeff. It's up to you to rebound.
I can follow that. Wonderful. Okay. I agree completely with what Greg just said, except for the part about Paige and coming in the same sentence, because that wasn't a good idea.
That was Dave.
But Dave said that even better. I think that Asuka will retain until the Brooklyn weekend because that way she'll surpass Goldberg's streak of being undefeated as champion. I will agree with you also, Greg, that it's going to be physical. It's going to be intense. These two women, are going to just tear the house down. They may steal the show.
Well, there you go. So three of you are going with the title, or you're going with Asuka to retain. I'm the only one going with the title change. The thing is, WWE likes Goldberg, so I don't think they're hell bent on having Goldberg's streak ended. It's not like
they like Goldberg in WWE. They don't like Goldberg in WCW.
But they it's not like Goldberg is CM Punk or anything.
For now.
For now.
All right, we'll see how they feel after WrestleMania.
Who is this CM? Who are you talking about?
CP
Bill
Monk.
Brooks. CP Monk.
CP Monk? Who's that guy?
Oh, jeez. All right, so I'm sticking with my prediction. I'm going with Ember Moon to win, and the feud will continue, and Asuka will eventually end up on the main roster, maybe in the summer. That's my prediction. So they have it 3 against 1, and now that leads us to the main event, the NXT Championship match. We have Bobby Roode defending against Shinsuke Nakamura. This one I think is pretty obvious. I think Bobby Roode retains the title here, and Nakamura shows up on either Raw or SmackDown right after WrestleMania. I'll start with you, Greg. Your thoughts on this match?
I have to agree. I mean, this one is pretty cut and dry, but I think people will be okay with it because, again, it'll be a physical match like all Nakamura matches are. But Bobby Roode retaining, I'm thinking he's going to use some shady means to do it. I don't think he'll beat him cleanly. I think Bobby Roode retains here. He continues. I say that Roode holds on to the title past Brooklyn. I think Roode's going to become the longest reigning NXT champion in history because I don't see anybody beating him right now. I don't see Ono doing it. I don't see really anybody else on the roster doing it. The only person I possibly could see right now making sense if he stays in NXT.
Ooh,
but he'd need to make a push and need to start winning on shows.
What do you think, David?
Well, but Nakamura would be 2 losses if he lost going into the main roster. Do you think that's a great idea?
Well,
or
that's
does it
how
really
it works.
matter?
They put over people on the way out or on the way up, I should say.
Yeah, I suppose that's true, and it's a whole different animal when you go. I guess you can't really intertwine them too much. Kevin Owens, for instance, people forgot about his NXT run because he's made such an impact. But I mean, let's just hope it's not physical where Bobby Roode gets his orbital socket broken. But if it's safe and they both make it out of it, then yeah, I see Bobby Roode retaining, and he should be the champion for a long time because NXT doesn't have anybody super legit right now that could carry that torch, for at least until the SummerSlam. So yeah, I go with Bobby Roode. I like what you guys think.
What do you think, Jeff?
I gotta agree with everybody. I think Bobby Roode, like I said last time we got together about an NXT prediction show, they're trying to get this glorious thing over as much as they possibly can. The fans are behind it, even though he's supposed to be a bad guy. Every freaking person in that Full Sail arena sings that song the whole way down and the whole way back every single time. I sing it at home when I'm watching NXT on my TV. I sing it when he's coming down the ramp just because.
I got it on my Spotify. I'll listen to it every now and then just to get pumped up. It's
on my workplace when I'm at walk around stocking boxes every night, no question.
Awesome.
But you know what? More than that, Bobby Roode is one of the best wrestlers in the game right now. He has been for a very long time. There's a reason, as crabby as TNA's booking has been from time to time over the years, he was the longest reigning champion there for a reason. Because he's freaking good. And Nakamura is one of the best ever as far as strong style goes. No question about that. But Bobby's good overall. He's well-rounded. Shinsuke is going to give him a hell of a fight in Orlando. No question about that. But he's on his way up, so he will do the right thing on the way out.
Sounds good. Now, Jeff, I want to ask you, since you're the most familiar, I think Greg is somewhat familiar. David, you're pretty much BSing your way through this. I just called you out, by the way. Hey, to be fair, I have not watched any of the weekly NXT shows, so I'm not really doing my job very well. So it is
Shame
what
on
it
you.
is. So Jeff, I'll ask you, since you're familiar, and maybe Greg, you can add to this as well. What other matches do you see them possibly adding, since there are only 4 matches? I've heard talk about there being an 8-person tag match with Sanity against some of the baby faces. What do you think about that?
Well, they just had I forget what her name is in NXT, but Heidi Lovelace just debuted the Wednesday night on NXT, so they'll probably put her with Dillinger Strong and Jose against Sanity in an 8-person, probably just a regular tag and elimination tag. Elimination tag with 8 people will take way too long. I would like to see, honestly, Ono do something on the card. Yeah. Because how do you re-sign Chris Hero and leave him off his first major pay-per-view? How do you do that? Right. How does it even happen?
Well, who would he face? Greg, who would he face?
See, he would have to face somebody lower on the card. I mean, he can't face Elias Sampson because they had their match.
Drifter.
Yeah, the Drifter playing the guitar from Pittsburgh. Hey. But I don't think you don't put Ono on the card rather, with a match with very little build-up. It doesn't make sense to me. I know he just returned, but I think you save his big, I don't want to call it pay-per-view because it's on the network, his big network special debut until he has a solid opponent with a solid storyline behind it. So I don't think Ono does anything. The 8-person tag makes sense. Obviously, it won't be elimination because you have an elimination tag match on the show. later on with the tag team titles. So I think the 8-person tag goes on, but 5 matches should
be sufficient.
Plus, it's a good way to get everybody on the card too.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeff looked like he was going to say something.
Oh yeah, I want to ask the group because the group is at least familiar with Chris Hero to a certain extent. Do you guys think bringing him back now and not making him champion is going to be the right decision for him going forward?
See, if you made him champion immediately, I think that might take something away from the NXT title. I mean, I understand bringing in people, making them champion immediately. I mean, NXT does it, TNA does it. I mean, TNA does it all the freaking time.
Yeah, they do.
But I don't see him becoming a championship contender until he gets refamiliarized, I guess I should say, with the WWE audience, because there are a lot of people who watch WWE who aren't familiar with the indies.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's kind of changing a little bit, but you want to refamiliarize yourself with Cassius Ohno in WWE and not think about Chris Hero outside of WWE. If that makes sense.
That does make sense.
Exactly.
And I do think he'll eventually be the guy to beat Roode for the title, if I had to make a prediction on that.
And I agree with that, but I would definitely make it at least make sure Roode's longest reigning champion first.
I think it'll be SummerSlam that Roode loses the title.
Too soon.
I don't think so.
Oh, well, we'll see how that goes. Now, that'll do it for NXT. Now, real quick, we do have the Hall of Fame Friday night, which is the first of 5 consecutive WWE shows as part of WrestleMania weekend. David, anything in particular you're looking forward to in the Hall of Fame? Like, what are you looking forward to the most? And then I'll get Greg and Jeff's opinions.
Well, I'm glad Ravishing Rick Rude is finally getting it, but it's obviously well deserved. There's some that should have got in before others, but I'm really excited to see Kurt Angle. He's probably one of my top 2 or 3 of all time, and I'm actually hoping that outside of him getting inducted, that he also gets some matches too under his belt, or at least one nice big match, because he wants to. So. I'm looking forward to those 2 the most. And obviously, you guys as a fan of DDP Yoga, I mean, it's cool to see bang into the Hall of Fame too. So yeah, it's actually a really good class. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully we'll talk more about that.
Right.
Going forward.
Your thoughts, Greg?
I mean, this class is honestly one of the most solid from top to bottom. You look at everybody who's being inducted, you can't complain about any of them. There's no Coco Beware in there anywhere. But, but personally, I have to say, as not only somebody from Pittsburgh, but somebody who graduated from Clarion University, as Kurt Angle did, it's wonderful to see Kurt Angle back in the WWE family. And I kind of wish I could be there personally to see it. Unfortunately, I wasn't, or I'm not able to, unless, somebody gives me a lot of money in the next week.
Yeah.
But I can't wait for Kurt Angle, and it's probably going to be the most, I'm trying to think of the word, the most celebrated "You Suck" chant that we've heard in a long time.
Maybe they'll just chant Angle.
No, they'll chant "You Suck." I mean, that's the chant they associate with the music.
I know. I've been thinking about that too. I'm like, is it going to be this whole unanimous "You Suck" still? I mean, because it almost was embraced after a while until his music changed in 2006. Remember before he left? It slightly changed so that they didn't have that.
I think he'll come out to his original music so they can do the.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
And the "You Suck" chant is almost a term of endearment, and I was kind of thinking it's almost like the John Cena sucks. That's almost a term of endearment now.
Yeah,
it is though.
Cena in the last few years has not been like people don't hate Cena like they used to. I mean,
this is true.
Years ago,
Roman
said, "Oh no, John Cena, he's going to be 16-time champion. We're going to riot." When he actually won the title, people were like, okay.
I think people are just over it now. They accept the way things are.
Now, if it would have happened with Reigns, like right now, then people would have lost their minds.
Yeah, people are still not accepting of Reigns, but we'll get to that when we do the WrestleMania predictions. David, actually, I was going to ask you, Greg, are you the only one of us that is a graduate from college?
I don't know the answer to that.
So Greg comes from a higher educated university, and when he talks to us rednecks, he has to dumb himself down.
That's right.
If you get that reference. All right, Jeff, any thoughts?
I got 2 semesters under my belt. Hey,
I have like
a minor college.
I have only a year of community college classes. But Jeff, your thoughts on the Hall of Fame? Like what I said there?
I
Hall of
waited
Flame?
every single
You
week when
missed
they
it.
announced the
He
next
no-sold it.
inductee. Huh?
You totally no-sold my little dig on you.
I did. On
I
purpose.
called it the Hall of Flame.
Oh, I didn't even hear you
For
say
those
that.
of you
I
that
was just trying to
missed,
talk.
for those of you that don't get it, in 2004, we were talking about the 2005 Hall of Fame from earlier, and Jeff was a little intoxicated, and he called it the Hall of Flame.
In my defense, we were in Vegas, so drinking was just going to happen.
Yeah.
Vegas, baby. We're going to meet some beautiful babies.
Jeff was asking us where was the broom key.
Where's the broom key? Because we're all going to see the Hall of Flame ceremony. That's right. I waited every week when they were doing the announcements over and over again to announce DDP, and they finally did. And I've actually been DMing with Dallas over Twitter, and he's stoked. We're all stoked that he's finally getting his nod. I love that they're bringing Bischoff back to induct him.
Absolutely.
I think that's awesome. I love they're bringing Cornette back to induct the Rock and Rolls. My God.
It's going to be great.
They're going to have to get him in the back. Okay, Jimmy. Easy.
No, that's awesome.
But, yeah, and people are, kind of ragging on the fact that they had seen the induct Kurt Angle, but really, in the current WWE market, the current WWE environment, who better to induct Kurt Angle than the guy that Kurt Angle freaking made?
Exactly. It's almost like Austin when inducted Brett. Brett sort of made Austin.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing here, man. John Cena was made by Kurt Angle.
Without
it.
that debut on SmackDown, oh my God, 15 years ago, if you can believe that nonsense, there would be no John Cena the way he is now, because John Cena had to have that immediate impact and get himself over right away, and he did.
You think Corny will take a stab at Kevin Steen?
No.
Guaranteed.
Yeah,
Yes, he will.
So.
No. He won't outwardly, directly do it, but he'll reference Kevin for sure.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Cornette will be a good boy on Friday night.
I think what I think will happen is he'll get it. Trust me, I followed Cornette and Steen over the years many times. I've talked with Kevin about Cornette more than once.
Hey, he helped Kevin get that good promo work, so you got to give Corny some credit, man.
Dude, I give Corny credit forever. That guy is a genius. I think he'll get up there, and before he starts getting rolling on the Rock and Roll Express, he'll be like, oh, by the way, and say just something stupid or corny, and then that'll be the end of it.
Yeah.
Should come out with this tennis racket.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing Cornette and Bischoff and Angle coming back to WWE. Their first appearances in, over a decade for all three of them. But Bischoff I think was about a decade, but it's been a while.
Let me ask, that's right. Let me ask you guys kind of a weird question, but I'll go ahead and throw it out there anyway. Had the Warrior lived, do you think he'd be inducting Ravishing Rick Rude?
I don't think so. Honestly,
I don't know.
Sorry, David. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead, Greg. I'll talk after.
All right. Honestly, I don't think the Warrior would have done it. I think if Bobby Heenan would have the ability to talk right now, that he would have been the perfect person to induct Rick Rude. But, circumstances being what they are, it makes sense for Steamboat to do it. But
yeah, their battles with WCW were tremendous. No question about that.
Yeah, because Warrior and Rude had a program, and it was in WWF, but it was a brief one. They had, Rude with Sting and Rude with Steamboat had a lot of, work together over the years. And but yeah, you took the words out of my mouth, Greg. I was going to say if Bobby Heenan was able to, he'd be the most appropriate. He probably would have inducted several people by now.
Quite frankly, if he was alive, I think Kurt Hennig would have been the right person to induct Rude.
Oh,
this is
no doubt.
True. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah,
there's a lot of, what's funny is they took so long with Rude. There's now a lot of what ifs.
There are, definitely. So that'll wrap things up. I think we pretty much covered everything regarding the Hall of Fame and NXT. Thank you guys for being on. Thank you to everyone for watching and putting up with the various microphone issues with the headset or whatever. Damn it, Jeff. Oh, now he's doing. No, stop it. You're just adding more and more dislikes with every little twitch.
That's right.
So anyways, follow Jeff Meacham. Send all hate mail for this video to @_Jeff Meacham on Twitter. And also, when David screwed up earlier with the mic, you can send him a message @SmartMark420. Greg was a good boy. Greg is smart enough to not use the stupid headphones. And because of that, send your positive messages to Mr. Greg Cherry at PA Sensation on Twitter. And you know where to find me. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you next time for our WrestleMania 33 predictions video. See you then.